Alright, so for those who don't know, my name's Connor. I'm the indie game developer behind Wraith. So here's the plan. There's a lot of stuff that needed to be done before a demo would be ready. I really wanted to include a demo on like PlayStation. I also needed a main menu. I also needed music for the game. And I also wanted to add 2 new levels for the player to play through. I also wanted to add a leaderboard because I was sure that the intercompetitiveness between all of us would be a huge fun factor to this game. The plan was to do this all in a week. Start with week 1. So on Monday, I added like a gamepad controls to the game. This was pretty easy. Just click the button, then click the input on the gamepad and you're good. And then I was ready to move on to the main menu. So the main menu, this was a little bit harder. For previous games, all I would do is just drag and drop a button into the game, then have, okay, like this button will open like the next level. This button quits the game. This button is the settings button, right? Super easy, but I wanted more than that. I wanted them to be like animated, to move around, to be fancy, right? Which is of course harder than it sounds. So we need to use like a vertical box is what it's called, which is just like you put all your buttons in the vertical box and they'll stack one on top of the other. Padding will automatically be applied, all of that stuff, so it's super sweet. The thing is that if you drag and drop a default button in, it just can't resize it or can't, like, there's no control. So instead I learned about creating like menus in menus or like widgets in widgets. So I had never done that before, so I used this tutorial. It taught me how to do that. And by the end of Tuesday, I got like a button in a separate widget working. On Wednesday, I actually had the button animated so that when you would like hover over it, it would grow bigger, its padding would increase, and the text on the button would be highlighted to show you that yes, you are hovering over this button. And so while I was making the main menu, I decided that one of these buttons should be a button for giving me feedback. And I thought, what better place to do that than Discord? So I set up a huge Discord system. I had like a server, I put up all these channels, you know, places for giving feedbacks, bug reports, giving suggestions, all this stuff. I was super excited about it, super hyped. I was like imagining this big community that I'd have. And then when I went to include the link in the game, I realized that I would need to pay $4.99 a month in order to get a link that like anyone would be able to access, not just my friends, right? As of now, I have like 10 subscribers, so $4.99 a month isn't very useful for like a whole Discord. It's not worth it. So instead I used Google Forums. That was pretty easy to set up. It was just too bad because like an hour or 2 hours of setting up rules and all that stuff for Discord, that all went down the drain. That was too bad. On Thursday, I added a pause menu so that you would be able to get back to the main menu and, you know, pause the game. Settings in the game is also really important. So I started setting up the basics of the settings menu. I set most of the things to just will be finished later, but I realized that being able to remap controls is a really big deal, so I decided to start including that. This is the next big bump. Yeah, so on Friday I watched this video and I started to get the controls working. This is like, again, of course, twice the pain in the ass than you would think it is. I still don't really know how it works. I just kind of followed along with this video step by step and figured it out. There were still a lot of problems with it, but on Saturday I managed to polish a lot of them up. I made sure that you couldn't put 2 of the same buttons in twice. And I also had it so that they would actually show you, because by default, they would just show you the name of the button that is selected, which doesn't look pretty at all. So on Saturday, I created a system where it would figure out which image was associated with which input by just using 2 lists and finding the index from one list and using it for the other simple stuff. And yeah, I got images working. With that, I'm really happy to announce that we got main menu done. Yeah. So yeah, there are a ton of videos on YouTube talking about how hard game development is. I kind of try to capture that in this part. It's taking especially long for me because I don't have full time to work on the game. So because I'm still in school, I only have like about 3 hours a day to work on it every day. On Saturdays and Sundays, I also work at an animal shelter, which is freaking awesome. It's like a huge part of who I am and will be for a really long time. It's just also a lot of work, a lot of really loud dogs. Barking at you, needing attention, right? Again, don't get me wrong, I love it. It also means I don't have weekends. Anyway, my point of saying this is that, like, yes, this has been a really long time. This is a really slow process trying to get this game finished, but I promise I'm trying my hardest. I really do want this game to come out and I really do want it to be a good game. So yeah, please bear with me. I'm trying. So on Sunday, I spent like the whole night tweaking on the katana and it just wasn't looking like I could not get it to look good. The system that I made isn't made for katanas or any melee weapon. It's made for weapons that go boom, boom, boom. So I decided to just give up on this. I will add it back in as well as a tomahawk. Right, I do plan to add these in, just not right now. So on Monday, I decided I would move on to trying to make the music. I had already learned how to use FL Studio. It had been a while, so I had to reteach myself. And then I scoured the internet for vocals, because for the genre that I want to make sort of like wave music, and vocals are a very important part to wave music. So I spent the internet scouring for them. It's really hard because the vocals are either super cheesy, super expensive, or both. So I ended up finding a couple here or there. And on Tuesday, I managed to make 2 whole songs. They were shit, but it's a start. On Wednesday, I did some homework. That's all I wrote down, so. On Thursday, I implemented the songs. Now this was fun. Unreal has like a meta sound system, and when I tried to loop things over each other, Unreal said no. So I had to recreate my own, like, with manual time. It's not fun. It is what it is though. But yes, music is now in the game. On Friday, to give more of a kick to enemies dying, I tried to make what I was going to call kill chords. I had 4 chords set up, and they would play every time. One of them would play every time you hit an enemy. So you would kind of be like making music while you hit the enemies. It's just no matter which chords I chose, which sounds, which whatever, they either sound super out of place or sounded relaxing. Instead, I chose to make voices for these characters. This was something I had planning to do for a long time, so I just kind of grabbed my microphone and started shouting into it. Then I followed this tutorial for Audacity, but applied it in FL Studio to try to get it sound like they were like breathing through masks or like walkie-talkies and stuff. Get her! Get her! She's here! Sunday, I moved on to making another song. Also, right when I finished making the song, I found this. Trust me. So yeah, vocals were there the whole time. I spent like, I swear to God, 2 hours scouring the internet for vocals. They're just in FL Studio. They're there. They're free. They're like, you can use them. Monday, I refined the 3rd song. This was like a pretty repetitive thing. I would make something on one day and refine it the next day when I'm feeling a little bit better about it, a bit refreshed. And then I was able to move on to blocking out the 3rd level. I actually only recorded myself doing like the first part of the block out of the 3rd level. So that's what this is. I don't have the rest, but eventually I finished it. I also took the opportunity in this level to implement these like launcher things that I had made a long time ago. They just work by like when you run into it, it gives you like a Z velocity. It like shoots you up, and then it inverts and multiplies your X and Y velocity so that you shoot back in the opposite direction, which at first is really unintuitive, but it allows for like super cool plays where you like psych out enemies by looking like you're running away, and then nope, you come right back. It was a lot of fun. On Tuesday, I made the riot shields bigger because I felt that it was way too easy to just jump up and shoot their heads or their feet, and also reduce the shield's health so that you could shoot through them a lot easier. I implemented the sound effects for bullets hitting objects. At first, I was trying to find sound effects online. Again, it's a pain in the ass to find things that are both free and sound good. But I ended up remembering that I had bought like a gun sound effects pack for the weapons, and it came with hit sounds. So that was perfect. So I used those. And by then the day was almost at its end, but I took the last half hour to try to look into how I was going to create this, like allow this glass to break, right? My plan was to add decals. That's what I thought was going to work, right? I was like, I'll add decals. So decals are basically just like 2D like textures that are projected onto 3D surfaces. Super useful. It's what I do for the blood. The only thing was just finding a glass shatter texture. That took a really long time. On Thursday, I finally did find the textures. There's this free asset pack advanced glass on the Unreal Marketplace. That was super sweet. And then realized that decals don't work on transparent materials. That's great. I tried to look into how to fix it. There's like create materials that don't render in the final viewport, or like create materials that don't get rendered but still have like decal collision or something. I don't know. I don't understand. I really tried to get them working. It's just, no matter, I tried for like an hour, 2 hours. I gave up. I was really scared to actually use fracturing because I thought that it would be super big on the performance, but the thing is the game right now is running at like 50 frames a second in the editor, so yeah, I added fracturing to the planes, but that just removed collision. Like I don't know why. So instead I used solid 3D blocks. Just the thing is that you could like see the glass through the glass, if you know what I mean. I tried to fix them in Blender by like merging them. I don't remember how to use Blender, so that didn't work. I chose to add pillars in between all the glass just to hide this like overlap that they were having, right? And then I add the shattering, and then I realized, oh, right, we can see the shatter through the glass again. So that wasn't great. On Friday, I set up the system where it would like spawn the collection after you already hit the glass. And then I had to spend like a really, really long time tweaking the parameters of the collections so that they would shatter under the right amount of force and stuff. And then when I finally did get it working, it took up way too much performance. Again, I was like, well, this is in the editor, so I chose to package the project, and after doing that, we were still hitting like 40 frames a second. Not good. So I was about ready to give up on it, but I realized, well, no. I'll put an option in the settings menu where you can just turn off the glass shattering, so it won't actually shatter, it'll just disappear when you shoot it. Of course, this took way longer than it needed to. Yeah, I finally need to create the save system so that it would remember what you set this to. Like, so if you changed it to off and then you closed the game when you opened it again, you wouldn't have to go back into the settings to change it to off. Yeah, even just getting this thing to toggle on and off took like 30 minutes, not even implementing its functionality, like not even being like, yeah, when you turn it off, then the glass, like no, just getting it to say on and off took like 30 minutes. And then also, even if you keep it on, the glass will delete itself after being shattered, like after like, I think it's like 3 or 5 seconds. That way, if you shatter all the glass in the level, delete itself after a period of time, right? And then everywhere from Saturday to Tuesday, I was working on making more levels. Again, I only recorded part of my process, so sorry about that. Pretty dumb. I'm gonna get better at that. I have a really large external storage space, so I'm gonna get better at plugging that in and storing all my videos there so I can show, because time lapses of level design are always super awesome. And then on Wednesday, I finally got the controller working with the menus. I did get the inputs working, like I said before, way earlier, but getting gamepads to work with the main menus is a different story. I followed this tutorial and it took me all night because turns out you're not supposed to plug this thing into here. You're just not supposed to. I didn't know that. I thought it looked pretty intuitive that you were widget to focus on the widget that I added to the, like, that looked simple. You're not supposed to do that. And then on Thursday, I spent the whole night making the leaderboard. Again, that took all night. I remember while I was doing it, I was thinking to myself that on the blueprints, even when everything was lined up straight, even when all the blocks were lined up straight, I was like, no, I swear to God, they're tilted. So I was really going crazy that night, but I finally got them working. And so yeah, and we got a leaderboard in. I'm feeling super excited about it because, again, this is going to mean that people get to log their results. And I'm planning on doing a thing in the future where right before like the game releases, whoever has the highest record in the demo version will get a one-time use code to open up the game for free, or to download like the final version of the game for free, right? So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun to see people compete, see all the ways that they find like little tricks to go a little faster and stuff. Really excited about that. Also, just this morning, I worked on trying to package it for PlayStation. Turns out both for PlayStation and for Xbox, you need to be a like registered company. I am not. I'm a 17-year-old in my parents' basement, so yeah, sorry, PlayStation and Xbox people. I was really hoping to get this included. It will happen one day. I will look into registering myself as a company, but yeah, I honestly have no idea how it's going to work. I don't know if you can do it at 17. There's a good chance you have to be 18 to do it, but it is available on Windows. The demo's up on Steam, so that's great. Now, the next thing is, I just finished recording this. It's been 30 minutes. I went over everything still a lot quicker than I meant to. I meant to show that like this stuff it's normal for it to take a long time. I think that's a big problem you see in like a lot of game devlogs. People make it look really easy. They don't show how much they've struggled, and the truth is everyone struggles. This stuff is hard. And I kind of tried to show that. I think I skimmed over everything a little too quickly. I'm not very good at taking notes. I was trying to do a thing where after every day I would log what I did. I didn't do a very good job at doing that. So I wasn't like, I don't remember all of the hiccups that I've had and all of that. For the rest of the day and Saturday and Sunday, probably, I will be editing this video down. 29 minutes of someone pure talking and all the ums and thises and that's is not good. So I'll probably edit it way down. Then I'm gonna need to add in all the videos on top of that. So like all the gameplay and stuff that you see that's added on top, I'll record all of that and edit that in on top. And then I'll also need music. Last time for my last video, I just had music playing in the background. This time I'm actually gonna try to get it to like cut out when I say something that at least I think is funny, right? To change every now and then, you know, all that stuff. And then yeah, from there we should be good. Video should be up and demo should be ready, and I'll check in on the leaderboards and see if people are beating records and stuff. Or maybe just no one plays the game. Hopefully that's not what happens.